Welcome back to the Sleepy Blocks channel. Today, we will be experiencing a soft and cozy story about a cow that thinks they're not enough. This is the second episode of the series, The Tale of Every Creature, so if you like it, be sure to subscribe. But now, enjoy the story. Twilight spills soft purple across the wide meadow, blades of tall grass bending like slow breaths under the wind. The creature moves through it with heavy, careful steps, hooves pressing gentle prints that the earth seems to keep for a moment longer than necessary. Its warm brown eyes catch the last threads of daylight, and in them there is no hurry, only a patient waiting that has lasted longer than any single sunset. A traveler appears at the far edge, thin, swaying, skin pale from the poison that curls through their veins like cold smoke. They stumble forward, bucket trembling in shaking hands, voice too weak to ask. The creature does not startle. It simply lowers its head, pressing close so the traveler can reach. Warm milk flows steady and slow, carrying away the green ache inside them bit by bit. The traveler drinks in silence, color slowly returning to their cheeks. When the bucket is empty, they stand straighter, eyes clearing. Then they turn and walk away into the gathering dark without looking back, without a word, without even the small weight of gratitude left behind. The creature stays where it is, watching the figure grow smaller until it is only a shadow swallowed by the horizon. A soft moo escapes its throat, quiet, almost to itself. The meadow feels suddenly wider, emptier. It lowers its head again, nosing through the grass until its lips find one single blade of golden wheat, brighter than the rest, still carrying the faint warmth of the sun that is already gone. It takes the blade gently between its teeth, not to eat, but to hold. Something small and hopeful flutters inside its chest, like the first breath after a long silence. Perhaps this time, the creature thinks in its wordless way, someone will stay. Perhaps this time the gift will be remembered. The wind moves through the meadow again, carrying the scent of distant pine and coming rain. The creature begins to walk once more, the golden wheat held close, a tiny flame of dreaming carried against the growing night. The meadow still holds the purple hush of evening when a new shadow cuts across it, quicker, sharper than the traveler before. The creature lifts its head, golden wheat blade still cradled gently between its teeth. It does not move away. It never does. The player bursts from the tall grass, breath fast, eyes wide with the sharp hunger of someone new to this world. Their hand swings a rough wooden blade, not with cruelty, but with the clumsy panic of need. The swing misses the creature by a breath, but catches another nearby, warm body crumpling with a startled moose that echoes too long in the quiet air. Then another swing, wilder, and the herd scatters like leaves in sudden wind. Hooves thunder away in every direction, tails high, fear rippling outward in waves. The creature stands frozen in the center of the chaos. It could run. Its legs know the motion, have felt it before in storms and darker nights. But it stays. The golden wheat trembles slightly between its lips as the player turns, chest heaving, realizing too late what has been broken. For a heartbeat, their eyes meet. The player's startled, almost sorry. The creature's steady, deep brown, holding no anger, only a quiet ache that has no words. Then the player lowers the blade, steps back, and disappears into the grass the same way they came, leaving only trampled patches and the faint scent of iron and sap. Silence returns, heavier now. The creature lowers its head. The golden wheat slips from its mouth, falls to the torn earth, and is pressed deep into the soft ground by a final, trembling hoof. It lies there, half buried, glowing faintly in the last light like something already lost. Around it the meadow feels suddenly vast and hollow. Companions gone, their familiar shapes scattered into the dusk. The creature stands alone in the widening dark, listening to the wind move through empty space where warm bodies used to brush against its side. A soft, low sound rises from its throat, not loud, not accusing, only the small noise of something being taken again and again, without ever being asked if it minds. It does not chase the lost wheat, not yet. It simply stands, feeling the shape of the emptiness settle inside its chest like cool evening mist, wondering in its wordless heart if giving will always mean being left behind. The night settles thick and cool over the meadow now, stars scattered like spilled milk across the dark. The creature stands where the player left it, hooves sunk a little deeper into the soft, torn earth. Around it, the grass lies flattened in wide, frightened arcs, silent witnesses to the scattering of the herd. No warm flanks press close anymore. No soft moos answer when it lifts its head and calls low into the dark. Only the wind answers, moving slow and steady through the tall stems, carrying away the last traces of the other's scents. It lowers its muzzle once more to the ground. The golden wheat blade is still there, half crushed beneath its own hoof, pale gold dulled by soil and shadow. The creature hesitates. Something inside trembles, not fear exactly, but the soft ache of wondering whether holding on is worth the weight it adds to an already heavy heart. Yet it bends, lips careful, and draws the bruised blade back between its teeth. The taste is faint now, sun-warmed memory more than living green, but it is still there, still something to carry. A long breath moves through its sides. The wind rises a little, brushing cool against damp hide, tugging gently at the wheat as if asking, "Why keep this? Why not let go?" The creature does not have words for the answer, only the feeling that if it lets the last small dream fall away tonight, the emptiness might grow teeth and swallow the rest of what is left. So it holds tighter, jaw soft but steady, and begins to walk, not toward anywhere in particular, just forward through the silver grass, past patches where companions once grazed side by side. The meadow seems to stretch forever under moonlight, endless, open, indifferent. Each step presses loneliness deeper into muscle and bone until it feels like part of the walking itself. The creature moves again, softer this time, almost swallowed by the night. The sound travels out and does not come back. It stops beside a small rise, where the grass grows thinner and the sky feels closer. Here the wind moves differently, circling, whispering, lifting strands of the creature's coat, like fingers testing for warmth. In that quiet rush, the creature feels something shift inside its chest. Not hope exactly, but the stubborn flicker of choosing gentleness anyway. Even when no one sees, even when the gifts are taken without thanks, even when the herd is gone and the wheat is only a broken thing carried in secret. It stands there a long time, head bowed against the breeze, the golden blade trembling but still held. The stars turn slowly overhead. Somewhere far off, a single owl calls once, mournful and far away. The creature listens until the sound fades, then lifts its gaze to the wide, empty dark. In its wordless heart, it decides something small but certain. Tomorrow it will search for the others, not because they will remember to thank it, or because the world will suddenly be kinder, but because staying gentle, even alone, even bruised, is the only shape its heart knows how to hold. The wind quiets for a moment as if listening. Then it moves on, and softer now, almost like a sigh. The creature turns once more into the meadow, the single blade of golden wheat glowing faintly between its teeth like a lantern no one else can see. It walks on through the long night, carrying its quiet choice forward into whatever dawn might come. The moon hangs low and heavy, silver light pooling in the dips of the meadow like spilled milk. The creature has walked far from the trampled rise, the golden wheat blade still held between its teeth, bruised but unbroken. Its steps are slower now, heavier with the night's quiet weight. The grass brushes its sides like soft fingers, but there is no comfort in the touch, only the reminder that no other body walks beside it tonight. Then the air changes. A scent arrives first, sharp, wild, warm with breath and hunger. The creature stops, ears flick forward. From the shadowed edge of the trees, eyes appear. 4 pairs, then 6, glowing faint amber in the dark. Wolves. They move as one slow tide, pause silent on the grass, circling wider and wider until the creature stands at the soft center of their ring. It does not bolt. Its legs tremble, yes, the old instinct to run flickers bright, but something deeper holds it steady. Behind it, hidden in a shallow dip where moonlight barely reaches, a single calf lies curled tight. Newborn, barely hours old, legs still folded awkward under its small body. The little one had strayed too far in the earlier panic, too weak to follow when the herd fled. Now it sleeps, unaware, tiny chest rising and falling in shallow dreams. The wolves tighten their circle. One steps closer, head low, lips peeled back just enough to show the pale curve of teeth. A low growl rolls out, vibrating through the ground into the creature's hooves. The others echo it, a soft chorus that makes the night feel smaller, sharper. The creature's heart beats hard against its ribs, loud enough, it seems, that the wolves must hear it too. It lowers its head slowly, not in surrender, but in quiet offering. The golden wheat blade trembles between its lips. For a long moment, nothing moves except the wind and the slow turn of the stars. Then the creature shifts, only a little, positioning its wide, warm body directly between the pack and the sleeping calf. No charge, no bellow, just the steady press of presence. Here I stand, not for myself, for this small thing that cannot yet stand for itself. The lid wolf pauses, ears tilt. The growl softens into something curious, almost puzzled. The circle holds but does not close. The creature meets those amber eyes without flinching. In its own deep brown gaze, there is no fight, only a tired, stubborn gentleness that has carried it through so many takings already. It does not ask the wolves to leave. It simply refuses to step aside. Minutes stretch long. The calf stirs once, a tiny moo slipping out like a sigh, and the wolf's ears flick toward the sound. The led one takes one step back, then another. The circle loosens, the amber eyes blinking out one by one as shadows melt back into the trees. They do not flee in fear. They simply go, as though the weight of that quiet stand was heavier than hunger. The creature waits until the last faint rustle fades. Only then does it lower itself carefully to the grass, folding its legs beneath so its side presses warm against the calf. The little one nestles closer without waking, nose tucking under the curve of the creature's neck. A soft breath brushes hide. For the first time since twilight, the meadow does not feel entirely empty. The golden wheat blade rests now against the calf's small ear, glowing faintly in moonlight. The creature closes its eyes. The fear has not vanished. It lingers like frost on the grass. But something new has taken root beside it. The knowledge that standing still, when every instinct screams to run, can be its own kind of courage. Not loud, not fierce, just there, unmoving. Enough. The night deepens around them, wind whispering secrets through the tall stems. Somewhere far off, an owl calls again, gentler this time, almost like a lullaby. The creature keeps watch, body a warm curve of shelter, heart beating slow and steady for two. Dawn arrives slow and gray, the sky the color of old wool pulled thin. Mist clings low to the meadow, softening the edges of everything until the world feels wrapped in quiet cotton. The creature rises carefully from where it sheltered the calf through the night. The little one stirs, stretches tiny legs, then presses its warm nose against the creature's side in sleepy thanks, before tottering off to find fresh grass nearby. For a moment, the meadow holds something almost like peace. The creature stands, shaking dew from its coat, the golden wheat blade still tucked gently between its lips. The night's courage lingers in its bones, like faint warmth from a dying fire. It begins to graze, slow, deliberate bites of wet green when the sound comes. Footsteps, heavier than hooves, deliberate, not running, not panicked, just coming closer. The player steps out of the mist like a shape remembered from a dream. The same rough clothes, the same wooden tool now replaced with something smoother, sharper. Their faces tired, shadows under the eyes, but the hunger is still there, sharper now, more certain. They carry an empty bucket that swings softly against their legs with each step. No words, no greeting, only the quiet purpose of someone who has learned what this creature can give. The creature does not move away. It lowers its head a fraction, offering the familiar curve of its side. The player kneels without hesitation, fingers quick and practiced now. The bucket fills with warm milk, steady streams that patter softly against metal. The creature stands still through it all, breath slow and even, the golden wheat trembling only slightly with each gentle pull. It does not flinch, it does not pull back. Giving has become the shape of its days. When the bucket brims full, the player stands. For a heartbeat they pause, eyes flicken to the wheat blade still held so carefully. Something flickers across their face, curiosity perhaps, or the ghost of yesterday's regret. But the moment passes. They turn to leave, bucket heavy in both hands. Then the wind rises sudden and sharp, sweeping across the open meadow like an impatient hand. It catches the golden wheat right at the edge of the creature's lips, lifts it free in one clean motion, and sends it spinning high into the gray air. The blade twists, glints once in weak light, then vanishes into the mist, carried far beyond reach, beyond sight, gone as if it had never been more than a wish made of light. The player does not notice. They walk on, disappearing back into the fog the way they came, milk sloshing softly with each step. The creature remains exactly where it stood, head still lowered, mouth empty now. No wheat, No small dream held close against the cold, only the wide gray morning and the soft patter of milk drops left behind on the grass. A low, broken sound rises from deep in its throat, mournful, almost too quiet to hear. The emptiness feels different this time, not just the absence of companions, not just the ache of being taken from. This is something sharper, the loss of the one thing it had chosen to keep for itself, the one small hope it had dared to carry alone. It stands there a long while, mist curling around its legs like slow smoke. The calf returns, nudging gently at its side, but even that warmth cannot quite reach the hollow left behind. The creature finally lifts its head. The meadow stretches empty in every direction. Somewhere far off, the wind still whispers, carrying the last faint scent of golden wheat away into nothing. In the silence that follows, the creature feels the weight of every gift it has ever given settle heavy across its shoulders. And for the first time, a small, trembling question forms in its quiet heart. If everything I hold is taken, by wind, by hands, by time, what is left that is only mine? The gray light brightens slowly. No answer comes, only the soft sound of its own breathing, steady and unbroken, carrying it forward into another day that asks for more than it ever gives back. The gray morning drags on, heavy with mist that refuses to lift. The creature stands motionless in the center of the meadow, mouth still remembering the empty space where the golden wheat once rested. Every breath feels thinner now, as though part of the air itself has been carried away with that single bright blade. The calf from the night before stays near, small body pressed against its leg, but even that warmth cannot quite fill the hollow left behind. Then the sound comes, faint, almost lost in the soft drip of dew from tall grass. A tiny, frightened moo, high and trembling, drift in from somewhere deeper in the field. The creature's ears lift. The sound pulls at something old and tender inside its chest, sharper than hunger, deeper than the ache of loss. It turns its head slowly toward the noise. The mist parts just enough to show a narrow path trampled through the wet stems. The creature begins to move, slow at first, then quicker, hooves sinking into soft earth. The calf follows close behind, tiny legs struggling to keep pace. They push through thickening fog until the meadow dips into a shallow hollow where rainwater has pooled in wide silver mirrors. There, half submerged in the cold shallows, lies the smallest calf the creature has ever seen. Barely a day old, fur still damp and curled from birth, eyes wide with terror. One fragile leg is caught in a tangle of roots that twist beneath the water's surface. Every small struggle only pulls it deeper. The little one's cries have grown hoarse, barely more than whimpers now. The creature stops at the edge of the pool. For a long moment, it simply looks, taking in the shivering body, the way the calf's sides heave with exhausted fear. Something inside the creature shifts, quiet but certain. It cannot walk away. Not from this. Not after everything else has been taken. It steps forward into the cold water. The chill climbs its legs like slow fingers, but it does not hesitate. Lowering its broad head, it nudges gently at the tangled roots, lips careful, breath warm against the calf's trembling flank. The roots resist at first, old, stubborn, but the creature keeps working, steady and patient, until one thick strand loosens, then another. The small calf slips free with a soft splash, legs folding under it in relief. The creature does not leave the water. Instead, it lowers itself beside the shivering newborn, pressing its warm side close so the little one can lean in. The calf buries its face against soft hide, small body shaking with leftover fear and sudden safety. A tiny tongue flicks out once, tasting the familiar scent of milk and warmth. The creature stays there, unmoving, letting the cold seep into its own bones while the calf slowly warms against it. Around them, the mist begins to thin, letting weak sunlight pierce through in pale shafts. The older calf, the one from the night, comes closer too, nosing curiously at the newcomer before settling on the other side. In that quiet circle of three, something small but real begins to grow. The creature feels it like the first faint heat after a long frost. The sense of being needed, not just for what it can give and leave behind, but for what it can stay and hold. No wheat blade rests in its mouth now. No bright symbol to carry. Yet in this moment, the emptiness feels a little less sharp. The small calf lifts its head, eyes clearer now, and lets out a soft, steady moo, not frightened anymore, only tired and grateful. The creature answers with a low rumble of its own, the sound traveling deep into the hollow and out again, softer than wind. The sun climbs higher. The water around them glitters. For the first time since the taking began, the creature does not feel entirely alone in the giving. It has shared the last safe patch of dry grass it could find, offered its body as shelter against the cold, and in return received something wordless and true, the simple weight of trust resting against its side. The meadow waits beyond the hollow, still wide, it's still empty in places. But here, in this shallow place of water and light, a small family has begun to form, not out of promises or thanks, but out of the quiet choice to stay when everything else says run. The creature closes its eyes for a moment, feeling the two small hearts beating close to its own. And somewhere deep inside, where the golden wheat once lived, a new kind of warmth takes root, one that no wind can steal, no hand can take, because it was never held alone. The sun has climbed halfway now, burning off the last thin veils of mist, until the meadow lies open and golden under a wide, pale sky. The two calves walk close beside the creature, one small and newborn, still unsteady on long legs. The other older, steadier, nudging gently at its side every few steps. Their small moos fill the air like soft bells, fragile but alive. For the first time in many nights, the creature does not feel the weight of emptiness pressing quite so hard against its ribs. They reach a gentle slope where the grass grows thick and sweet, untouched by trampling hooves or sharp tools. The creature lowers its head to graze, letting the calves wander a little ahead. The newborn nibbles at tender shoots, tail flicking with sudden delight. The older one watches over it, ears turning toward every small sound. The creature lifts its gaze for a moment, simply breathing in the warmth of this tiny circle it has helped hold together. Then it notices the shape at the far edge of the slope, a thin gray-white form standing alone against the horizon. A sheep, older than the calves, coat dull and matted from a long winter that refused to end. Its ribs show clearly beneath the wool, sides hollowed out like wind-scoured stone. The sheep stands motionless, head lowered, staring at the green patch as though it were something remembered from a dream too distant to reach. The creature pauses. A soft, low sound rises in its throat, not a call exactly, more a gentle question. The sheep's ears twitch once. It does not move closer, but it does not turn away either. The creature takes one slow step forward, then another, hooves careful on the soft earth. The calves follow a little behind, curious but quiet. When the creature reaches the patch of richest grass, it does not begin to eat. Instead, it steps aside, leaving the best of it open. The sheep watches, eyes large and dark with wariness. Hunger flickers there too, sharp, almost painful. The creature lowers its head once more, nudges a thick clump of green toward the thin legs, then steps back again. No rush, no demand, just the quiet offering of what remains. The sheep hesitates a long moment longer. Then slowly, it lowers its muzzle. The first bite is small, testing. The second comes quicker. Soon the thin body is bent over the grass, eating steadily, ears flicking back, now and then, as though waiting for the moment the gift will be snatched away. But nothing is taken back. The creature simply stands nearby, body a calm wall between the sheep and the open wind, letting the eating go on until the hollow sides begin to fill, bit by bit. When the sheep finally lifts its head, grass still clinging to its lips, something has changed in those dark eyes. Not loud gratitude, not words that cannot be spoken between them, just a softening, a quiet settling, like frost melting under first light. The sheep takes one step closer, then another, until its thin flank brushes against the creature's warm side. It stays there, not pressing hard, only resting. A small weight, a small trust. The creature feels the touch like sunlight after endless gray. No golden wheat rests in its mouth anymore, no bright symbol to carry against the cold. But in this moment, the emptiness inside has grown a new shape. Not a hole, but a space large enough to hold more than one tired heart. The calves come nearer too, pressing close until the four of them stand together in a loose, warm knot against the slope. A soft breeze moves through the grass, carrying the scent of earth and new green. The sheep lets out a single, low bleat, quiet, almost shy. The creature answers with its own deep rumble, the sound traveling slow and steady between them like shared breath. No one moves away. No one takes. For once, the giving has stayed. The sun climbs higher still. Shadows shorten across the meadow. In the stillness of that shared patch of grass, the creature understands something new. Sometimes the thanks that matters most arrives not in words or bright gifts returned, but in the simple choice of another creature to stay close, to lean in, to let its tired weight rest without fear of being pushed away. The four of them remain there as the light deepens to honey gold, bodies touching in quiet safety, hearts beating close enough to feel like one slow, gentle rhythm under the endless sky. The afternoon light has turned soft and amber, stretching long shadows across the meadow like gentle fingers reaching back through time. The creature stands at the crest of the slope, with the thin sheep resting against its side, and the two calves curled close in the warm grass. Their breathing has slowed into the easy rhythm of creatures who have found a moment safe enough to rest. The wind moves slower now, carrying only the scent of sun-warmed earth and distant flowers instead of sharp hunger or sudden loss. Yet even in this quiet pocket of peace, something inside the creature begins to stir. Not a new ache, but an old one rising gentle and unasked. It lowers its head slowly, eyes half closed, letting the warmth of the others seep deeper, while memories drift up like leaves carried on still water. It remembers the very beginning, when the world was younger, simpler, when its own body felt strange and unfinished, legs too long, hide too plain, no gentle curve, yet shaped to hold and give life. Back then, the creature had wandered alone through vast, empty plains where the grass grew short and the sky pressed low. No milk flowed then, no leather waited to shield shivering travelers. It was only a quiet shape, moving through the light, watching others appear one by one, wolves with their glowing eyes, sheep already woolly and skittish, pigs rooting happily in the mud. Each new arrival seemed to know its place right away. The creature had waited longer, patient even then, until the change came, slow, almost shy, a soft rounding of its form, the warm weight of milk settling inside, the quiet knowledge that it had been made to give. The memory settles heavy, but not painful. It understands now that those early days were not empty. They were the shaping. The long silence before the first gift was asked. The creature had not been forgotten in those moments. It had been prepared. Every hoofprint left behind in soft earth, every night spent standing under indifferent stars, had been quietly building toward this. The ability to stand still when others ran, to offer warmth when cold came close, to hold space for small lives that would otherwise be lost. A soft moo escapes its throat, low almost to itself. The sheep lifts its head once, ears flicking, then settles again without moving away. The calves stir in their sleep, tiny hooves twitching as though dreaming of running through endless green. The creature feels the small lives pressed close and realizes something deeper still. The gifts it gives were never meant to be taken and forgotten. They were meant to ripple outward, to touch what comes after, even if the giver never sees the end of the circle. It thinks of the player who came twice now, once in clumsy panic, once in quiet need, and of the golden wheat that wind and hands and time have all stolen away. Perhaps the wheat was never truly meant to stay in its mouth forever. Perhaps it was only a reminder that even the smallest dream can be carried for a while, then released and still leave something behind in the heart that held it. The sun dips lower, painting the meadow in deeper gold. The creature lifts its gaze to the wide sky. No wheat glows between its lips anymore. No bright symbol remains to clutch against the dark. Yet in this moment, the past does not feel like loss. It feels like roots, deep, unseen, holding steady beneath everything that has been given and taken. A gentle breeze brushes across the group. The sheep lets out a soft bleat, almost content. One calf nuzzles closer, seeking the familiar warmth. The creature stands a little taller, sides rising and falling slow and even. In the quiet echoes of its own beginning, it finds a small, steady truth. The shape it carries now, the one shaped long ago in silence, was never meant to be alone. It was meant to become a place where others could rest, even if only for a moment. And in becoming that place, the creature has begun to remember itself, not as something endlessly taken from, but as something quietly, stubbornly made to hold the world a little softer than it found it. The light deepens. Shadows lengthen. The meadow breathes with them, slow and alive, carrying the gentle weight of every beginning that led here. The golden afternoon has deepened into a slow, honeyed hush. Long shadows stretch across the meadow like quiet fingers reaching toward evening. The creature stands at the edge of the gentle slope, the thin sheep resting its head against its warm flank, the two calves grazing close by in soft, contented circles. Their small sounds, gentle nibbles, occasional soft moos, fill the air like distant lullabies. For the first time in many turnings of the sun, the creature feels the shape of belonging settle lightly around its heart, fragile but real. Then the air shifts. A new scent arrives on the breeze, faint at first, then sharper. Sweat sees her iron, the clean bite of freshly worked wood and stone. Footsteps follow, deliberate now, no longer clumsy or panicked. The creature lifts its head slowly, ears turned forward. The sheep tenses beside it, wool bristling. The calves stop grazing, small bodies pressing closer to the creature's legs. The player emerges from the far line of tall grass, silhouette dark against the sinking light. They are different now, taller somehow, shoulders broader beneath a new coat of leather. Leather the creature recognizes with a quiet pang as coming from others who once stood beside it in the herd. In one hand they carry a gleaming iron blade, edge catching the last of the sun. In the other, a lead dangles loosely, ready. Their eyes scan the meadow with purpose, no longer wild with beginner hunger, but steady with the quiet certainty of someone who has learned what the world can provide and how easily it can be taken. The player stops at a distance, gaze sweeping over the small group on the slope. It lingers first on the calves, then on the sheep, then finally settles on the creature itself. For a long heartbeat, nothing moves except the slow sway of grass and the soft rise and fall of breathing. The player's expression flickers, something almost like recognition, or perhaps the ghost of yesterday's regret. But it passes quickly, replaced by the calm focus of need. They take one step forward. The creature does not run. Its legs, remember how, have carried it through storms and darker nights, yet they stay planted. Instead, it shifts, slow, deliberate, positioning its wide body once more between the approaching figure and the small lives it has begun to shelter. The sheep presses tighter against its side. One calf lets out a tiny, frightened sound and buries its face in the creature's hide. The other stands trembling, but does not flee. In the creature's mouth somehow, found again in the tall grass during the long afternoon graze, the single blade of golden wheat has returned. It holds it gently now, not as a desperate hope, but as something steadier, a quiet promise to itself that it will not let this small family be scattered again. The wheat trembles only slightly with each breath. The player raises the lead slowly, eyes fixed on the calves. The iron blade glints once more as they adjust their grip. They speak no words, but the intent is clear, carried in the set of their shoulders, the measured steps forward. The meadow seems to hold its breath. Wind dies to nothing. Even the distant birds fall silent. The creature lowers its head, not in submission, but in quiet defiance. A low, rumbling moo rises from deep in its chest, steady and unbroken, carrying across the open space like a soft wall of sound. It is not loud, it is not threatening. It is simply there, unmoving, unyielding, saying without words, "These ones stay with me. They are not yours to take." The player pauses. The lead lowers a fraction. Eyes meet across the golden grass, deep brown holding steady against the shadowed gaze of the one who has come to claim. In that long, suspended moment, the creature feels every gift it has ever given rise inside it, like warm breath on a cold morning. The milk shared with poisoned travelers, the leather given without fight, the shelter offered to calves and sheep alike. None of it was asked for in return. None of it was remembered. Yet here, now, it becomes the quiet strength that keeps its hooves rooted to the earth. The player takes one more step, then stops. The iron blade hangs loose at their side. Something flickers across their face again, not regret exactly, but a slow dawning, as though they are seeing the meadow not as endless resource, but as a place where small lives have woven themselves together against the wide loneliness. The golden wheat blade rests steady between the creature's lips now, glowing faintly in the dying light, like the last ember of a fire no one else can see. The creature does not move. It simply stands, body a gentle curve of protection, heart beating slow and sure for all the small hearts pressed close behind it. The shadows lengthen further, the sun slips lower, and in the hush between them, the returning shadow hesitates, caught for the first time by the weight of something softer than steel, something that refuses to be taken without being truly seen. The sun has slipped so low now that the meadow glows like warm amber poured across the grass. Shadows stretch long and thin, reaching toward the creature as though the world itself is leaning in to watch. The player stands only paces away, iron blade lowered but still gripped tight, lead dangling loose in the other hand like an unspoken question. The air between them feels thick, almost touchable, heavy with everything that has passed without words. The creature does not step back. Its hooves sink deeper into the soft earth, roots finding purchase as though the ground itself is holding it steady. Behind it, the small family presses close, the thin sheep trembling against its flank, the newborn calf tucked beneath its belly, the older one peeking out with wide, frightened eyes. Their small breaths come quick and shallow, warm against hide, already warmed by afternoon light. The creature feels each one like tiny heartbeats echoing its own, fragile, trusting, depending on this one quiet moment to remain unbroken. The player lifts the lead again, slow, deliberate. The iron blade catches the dying sun once more, flashing cold and bright. One step forward, then another, close enough now that the creature can see the faint lines of tiredness etched around their eyes, the way their shoulders carry the weight of a long day's gathering. Hunger is there still, but something else flickers beneath it. Uncertainty, perhaps, or the first faint crack in certainty. The creature lowers its broad head until its muzzle nearly brushes the grass. Not surrender, not fear, only the deepest breath it has ever drawn, filling its lungs until its sides swell wide and steady. Then it releases a single, long moo, low and resonant, rolling out across the meadow like slow thunder wrapped in velvet. The sound does not rise in anger. It simply fills the space, steady and unbroken, wrapping around the calves like invisible arms, brushing the sheep's wool, carrying the message no words could hold. Stay. I am here. You are safe. The player freezes mid-step. The lead slips a little lower. Their gaze drops from the calves to the creature's face, really looks now, past the hide, past the familiar shape that has always been there to give. For the first time, they see the quiet tremble in strong legs, the way the golden wheat blade, still held so gently between soft lips, glows like a small sun caught in twilight. They see the way the creature's body curves protectively, not to hide, but to shield, not out of duty, out of something deeper, something chosen again and again, even when no one stayed to notice. The wind has died completely. The meadow holds its breath with them. The calves quiet their trembling. The sheep lifts its head a fraction, ears no longer pinned flat. In that suspended hush, the creature feels every moment that came before rise inside it like warm current. The milk poured out for poisoned strangers, the leather given without fight, the nights spent standing between danger and the small ones who could not yet stand for themselves. None of it was loud, none of it demanded thanks, yet here, in this last golden hour, it becomes the quiet strength that keeps four small lives gathered close instead of scattered once more. The player's hand wavers. The iron blade dips toward the grass. Their eyes meet the creature's deep brown ones, longer this time searching. Something shifts in the silence between them. Not a promise spoken, not a bargain struck. Only the slow realization that what stands before them is not endless resource, but a heart that has chosen gentleness every time the world asks for more. The creature does not move. It simply stands, hooves rooted, body a living curve of quiet refusal to let this family be taken apart. The golden wheat trembles once between its lips, then steadies, glowing soft against the gathering dusk. A single tear of light catches in the corner of one brown eye, not from sorrow, but from the deep, aching beauty of choosing to stay when running would be easier. The player exhales slowly. The lead falls fully to their side. The blade hangs limp, forgotten for a moment in the weight of what they are seeing. The meadow exhales with them. A faint breeze returns, brushing tall stems in soft waves, carrying the scent of evening grass and distant pine. In that long, unbroken stand, the creature knows this is not the end of giving, but it is the moment when giving stops being only loss. It becomes something shared, something seen, held, remembered, even if only for the space of one heartbeat beneath a fading sun. The last sliver of sun clings to the horizon like a breath held too long, painting the meadow in strokes of rose and molten gold. Shadows have grown soft now, no longer sharp with threat. The creature remains exactly where it planted itself, hooves deep in earth, body curved wide and steady, the small family sheltered behind the quiet wall of its presence. The golden wheat blade still rests between its lips, trembling only with the slow rise and fall of its breathing. The player stands frozen a few paces away. The iron blade has slipped lower still, its tip brushing the tops of tall grass like a forgotten thought. The lead dangles useless from loose fingers. No more steps forward, no more reaching. Only stillness, and in that stillness, eyes that finally, truly look. They look at the creature, not at the milk it could give, not at the hide it could offer, not at the easy resource it has always been. They look at the deep brown eyes that have never once turned away in anger. They look at the way the legs tremble from holding so long against fear, yet never buckle. They look at the single blade of golden wheat, carried through storm and taking and loss, still held with such tender care as though it were the most precious thing in all the wide world. And in looking, something inside the player softens, like ice under first spring light, cracking open slow and quiet. A long breath escapes them, visible in the cooling air. Their shoulders drop. The blade lowers completely until it rests point down in soft soil, no longer raised, no longer ready. The lead falls from their hand entirely, coiling forgotten at their feet like shed skin. They take one small step, not toward the calves, not toward the sheep, but toward the creature itself. Slow, careful, as though approaching something fragile and alive in a way they had never noticed before. The creature does not flinch. It lifts its head only a little, enough to meet that gaze fully. Deep brown holds shadowed eyes across the narrowing space between them. No sound passes except the faint rustle of grass and the soft, steady breathing of four small lives trusting in the moment. The player kneels slowly, knees sinking into cool earth until their face is level with the creature's own. Close enough now to see the faint dew still clinging to its hide from earlier mist, the gentle rise of its sides, the quiet light caught in the golden wheat, like a captured star. For the first time, the player reaches out, not to take, not to pull or claim. Their hand opens, palm up, empty. It hovers there, trembling just a little, as though afraid the offer might be refused. The creature watches the open palm for a long heartbeat. Then, with the same slow care it has always given, it lowers its head until the golden wheat blade brushes the waiting fingers. It opens its mouth gently. The blade falls, soft, silent, into the open hand. The player's fingers close around it carefully, cradling the small thing as though it might dissolve if held too tightly. They look at the wheat, then back at the creature. Something wordless passes between them, not apology spoken aloud, not promise made in language, but recognition, seeing, being seen. The creature feels it bloom warm and deep inside its chest, like dawn breaking after the longest night. For once, the gaze that rests on it does not ask for more. It simply holds, simply stays. A single tear slips down the player's cheek, catching the last rose light before it falls to the grass. They do not wipe it away. Instead, they lift the wheat blade higher, letting the dying sun touch it one final time, then place it gently back at the creature's feet, not as something taken, but as something returned with care. The creature lowers its muzzle to the grass, lips brushing the blade once more. It does not pick it up immediately. It simply breathes in the moment, the warmth of small bodies pressed close behind, the quiet weight of being looked at, not as giver, not as resource, but as itself, whole, enough, seen. The sun slips below the edge of the world. The meadow darkens to velvet blue. Stars begin to prick through the sky one by one, faint and gentle. In the hush that follows, the creature feels the shape of its own heart expand, wide enough now to hold not only the ones it has sheltered, but also this strange, quiet understanding that has crossed the space between worlds. It has been given something no hand has ever given before, the gift of being truly looked at, and in that looking, chosen to stay. Night has folded itself away, like soft, dark cloth be pulled back from the world. The first pale threads of dawn creep over the eastern edge of the meadow, thin and silver at first, then warming to rose and gold until the grass glows as though lit from within. Mist rises in slow, lazy spirals from the dew-soaked earth, carrying the scent of new morning, clean grass, distant pine, the faint, sweet breath of waking flowers. The creature stands where it stood through the long twilight hours, hooves still sunk deep in the same soft patch of ground. Behind it, the small family has settled close, the thin sheep curled against its side, wool rising and falling in slow sleep. The newborn calf tucked beneath the warm curve of its belly, tiny ears twitching with dreams, the older calf resting its head across the creature's back like a living blanket. Their breathing weaves together into one gentle rhythm, soft and unbroken, the sound of belonging made audible in the hush before full light. The player kneels a short distance away, knees pressed into cool grass, hands open and empty now. The iron blade lies forgotten beside them, half buried in dew. The lead coil rests coiled like a sleeping snake that no longer bites. Their eyes are fixed on the creature, not hungry anymore, not reaching, simply looking, holding the gaze with a quiet steadiness that feels like the first real shelter the creature has ever known. In the growing light, the golden wheat blade lies between them on the grass, placed there by careful fingers, returned with the same tenderness it was once carried. The creature lowers its head slowly, muzzle brushing the single bright stem. It does not pick it up right away. Instead, it breathes in the moment, the warmth of small bodies pressed close, the soft weight of being seen without being asked to give more, the faint tremor of dawn air against hide that has carried so much and asked for so little. A soft moo rises from deep inside, low, warm, almost a sigh of release. The calves stir at the sound, lifting sleepy heads, blinking into the new light. The sheep opens its eyes, dark and calm, and leans a little closer. The player watches it all without moving, a small, quiet smile touching their lips for the first time, small enough that only the dawn seems to notice. The creature finally bends and takes the golden wheat between its lips once more, not to clutch it against loss this time, but to hold it gently, like a shared secret between them all. The blade glows brighter now, catching the full first ray of sun until it shines like a tiny piece of morning itself. The player rises slowly, brushing grass from their knees. They do not reach for anything. They simply stand there a moment longer, eyes meeting the creatures one last time. Then they turn, slow, unhurried, and walk away across the meadow, not fleeing, not taking, just going, leaving the space they once filled with quiet footsteps that fade into the tall grass. But this time the leaving does not feel like abandonment. It feels like permission to stay, to rest, to be. Sunrise spills fully now, washing the meadow in golden warmth. Birds begin their soft morning calls from hidden branches. A butterfly drifts past, wings the color of pale sky. The creature lowers itself carefully to the grass, folding its legs beneath so the calves can nestle closer still. The sheep settles beside it with a contented sigh. Together they form a small, warm circle in the center of the endless field, safe, held, seen. The creature closes its eyes against the bright light, feeling the sun warms its hide the way small hearts have warmed its own. The golden wheat rests easy between its lips, no longer a desperate hope, but a gentle reminder that even the quietest gifts, given without demand, can teach the world to pause, to look, to choose kindness in return. And in the soft hush of that perfect dawn, with the small family breathing slow and safe around it, the creature knows something deep and true has come to rest inside its heart. Sometimes the quietest gifts teach us we are enough, just as we are.